Ever wondered what would happen if we lost both FMGCs? Now would probably be a good time to find out. Let's get on to the tutorial right away. Hello everyone, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome on board the Airbus A320 here at Waypoints Aviation. We're in our flight simulator, and as you saw in the intro, it was a question that was posted by one of our subscribers, and thank you for the suggestion. We really appreciate it, and it's a good one because in the Airbus A320, all the computers are governed by a flight management guidance system. We have two of them, FMGC1, FMGC2, okay, Flight Management Guidance System. That's what the FMGC stands for. Now, the way it works is you have the MCDUs, all right, or the FMCs, whatever you want to call them. We call them the MCDUs. Got two of them on the Airbus, all right. Now, all the data that we input into these guys goes into the flight management guidance computers, and then the flight management guidance computers takes all of this information and basically uses it to run the aircraft. By the way, the QNH today, I'm over Dubai by the way, and the QNH is 9998 set on the standby, and I'll set it on the first officer's side as well. 9998 set. That's got a quick change of altitude, so I'm just gonna put myself back again to 5,000 feet. All right, so that's what's gonna happen today. All right, I'm gonna fail the FMGCs. All right, now because the Airbus has got a redundancy system, if one system fails, you can still safely land the aircraft and operate pretty much as normal with the other system in place. But for the sake of this exercise, I want to fail them both because I don't like myself today for some reason. I have no idea. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead to a heading of 210 degrees. And as you can see, I'm at 5,000 feet and I'm turning left. The autopilot is on, the auto thrust is on. You can see it right there. Alt cruise, speed mode on the auto thrust. Autopilot 1 is active, FD1, FD2, auto thrust, they're all enabled. Everything is well in my world, and I'm flying right over the Deira Islands in Dubai. So and in the distance, I wonder if you guys can see that, that's downtown Dubai right there, the Burj Khalifa and Dubai Mall. And in the distance, I've got the World Islands and the Palm Islands and any other island they decide to build, you know, so it's Dubai. Anywho, I've rigged up the failure to basically fail when my speed increases. All right, so what's going to happen now is I'm going to go ahead and increase my speed to 245 indicated. That's going to probably trigger the first failure. So here we go, we're going, aircraft is accelerating, and oh dearie me, master caution and autopilot off. All right, so I've got manual control of the aircraft. The flight directives are still active. The auto thrust is still active, and basically I'm just going to clear that message. I have control, and when I would ask my pilot monitoring, and by the way, I've got I don't have much information here, barely have any information here. All right, however, the status page now tells me that I'm Cat 3 single capability only for now, and the inoperative systems are Autopilot 1 and a Cat 3 dual. Alright, so that's all I've lost for now. Not a big deal because I still have, so FMGC 1 has failed, alright, which has basically taken my computer out. But then FMGC 2 has kicked in. So I can still run the aircraft, I can still manage to do things on the basis of FMGC2, alright? So that's looking good. So if I try to use Autopilot 2 now, there we go. autopilot 2 is working. I've got AP2 flying the aircraft, and I'm very much in control of this aircraft right now through the autopilot. Okay, I'm going to clear this status message. All right, status, well, however you want to pronounce it. Now things are looking good, things are looking fine. If I go to my flight plan page and I go to Dubai and I choose the runway and I put the ILS for runway 12 right, no stars, insert, then I come over to my nav page and I zoom out a little bit. I'm not gonna see it on mine, but what I can do is I can refer off the first officer's side, so you can see it's right there. Okay, so whatever he's doing, so now I'm taking data off his side. So if I do something here, I'm not gonna see much, all right? But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna match to his. So now when he goes to 20 miles out, all right, and I come to that much there, I should be able to see the data right there. Okay, so you see I zoomed out and now I've got the data from him. So we're primarily running off FMGC2. And in the Airbus, we use the MCDU to program in very important information, like on the RNAV page. That's where we program in the ILS frequencies, so that we can get the ILS frequencies. The VORs can be programmed in there, and yeah, so as long as I have the FMGC 102, I can still do that. I'm still capable of doing that. All right, hope you guys are with me so far. I'm just gonna go outbound over the sea. I'm just gonna give us a heading of 300 for right now. Okay, so that's FMGC 1. When one FMGC fails, boom, you're still okay in the Airbus. You're still perfectly fine. If you come back to the status page, we only have lost autopilot 1 and 2 and Cat 3 dual. That's it. Sweet. Everything's still looking good. All right. So now let's go ahead and fail the other one. I triggered it to fail at a little bit of a faster speed. So now I'm using FMGC 2. Increasing my speed to 250 knots indicated, using autopilot 2, and would it fail? Let me go 251. Oh, maybe go 252. Oh, dearie me. Alright, I'm gonna push on the side stick, the red the autopilot disconnect. Alright, now as you can see, I've lost a lot. Okay, let's recap. The first thing we're gonna do is flight directors off and the bird on. I'm gonna set my track. Obviously, I would ask my first officer to set all of this for me. So I'm gonna set it to 300, 5,000, and now I'm gonna hand fly the aircraft. I'm gonna make sure we're maintaining 5,000, and we're gonna request to maintain this for now. And I want to just come over, so here you go, there's my track of 300. I'm just going to bank the aircraft nice and gently, maintaining my altitude. Okay, master caution, that's because it wants the thrust levers. You can see thrust lock, so I'm going to go disconnect and I'm going to bring the thrust levers out, match the thrust lever position, and basically I just want to manually work the thrust now, because I've lost auto thrust, I've lost autopilot, and I've lost basically all the automation on the aircraft right now. All right, so we're stable now. We're at a track of 300. In fact, we're going to request let's request a track of 030. That's going to take us back towards the airport. So I'm just going to bank gently, bring the nose down ever so slightly, just to bring me back onto that 5,000 feet target that I have. Going to reduce thrust to about 60%, and it's still good. Look, my hands are there, my hands are off the controls, but the auto trim is still working, so the aircraft is still super easy to fly. All right, so it's all looking good, it's all well. All right, but as you can see, map not available, zoom out and anything. And if you look, actually stand by, let me just stabilize this at our altitude. I'll bank to about 20 degrees to the right. Gonna bring the nose up just a bit, just to hold altitude here. I'm gonna just hold a rough altitude at about 5,000 and something feet right there. That's looking good. All right, our speed is stable, nice and gently coming down to the 250 mark that I want, so very good there as well. I can give a little bit of thrust just to remove that trend, make sure the speed stays there. Perfect, all good. So Aircraft is stable. Remember the golden rules of aviation, all right, of being a pilot. The rules are aviate, navigate, communicate. Those are the three things you want to remember. When something happens in your aircraft, the first thing you do is aviate, which means whatever happens, fly the plane. Make sure your altitude is stable, make sure your speed is stable, make sure the aircraft is not in any weird position, climbing, descending, you know, all that kind of stuff. Stabilize the aircraft, fly the aircraft. You're a pilot, that's what you're there for, all right? Do that first. After that, navigate, find out where you are and where you need to go. Right now I've got a wonderful haze over the city of Dubai, so not very good for visual navigation, but I do know I'm in the vicinity, and of course I still have my radios. I can radio it in, and I can ask for a position report from ATC, and they're going to help me out, obviously, and that would also fall into the communicate part. All right, now with the aircraft stable, I'm heading due north. Well, I'm heading about just northeast, almost slightly northeast, 030 degrees. Now is when we get to figure out what has happened to this aircraft. My speed stable, altitude stable, the thrust levers are where they should be in the manual, and the engines are stable. I can actually reduce power just a little bit more just to keep my speed where I want it to be. Everything's good. Now we're going to work out what the problem is. All right, so autopilot is off. All right, auto flight, autopilot off. We can disregard that. Navigation, GPS terrain data fault, okay, terrain detection fault. GPS terrain off, okay, GPW's terrain off. So I come up here, as you can see, we do have a fault on the GPW's terrain thingy, so I'm just gonna go ahead and push that button. So we don't have terrain data anymore, all right? Gonna clear that. That's because I busted above 200, so I'm just gonna do that. Of course, first officer will be doing this for me. Or a co-pilot, rather, or pilot monitoring will be doing all of this for me, but I am kind of short of alone today, as you may see by the empty seat next to me. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep it stable over there as best I can. All right, now the next thing is the auto thrust is off. It's off, and it's not working. It's not gonna come back on. I cannot enable them. All right, I've lost it. Gonna clear that. Next thing is the cabin pressurization, landing elevation fault, landing elevation adjust. So what that wants to do is, it wants me to come over to the pressurization page, and it wants me to adjust. The landing elevation is usually set automatically by the flight management guidance computer, but now that it's not there, I need to adjust this. I'm going to be landing in Dubai, all right? Dubai is about 60 something feet above sea level, all right? So what I want to do is I come here over to the pressurization landing elevation knob, and I'm just going to turn that ever so slightly to the right, and I'm going to adjust it. So as I turn this knob, you're going to see the landing elevations changing, all right, from its negatives, and I'm going to make it, I'm trying to get it to 100. It's very sensitive. So there we go, 50. That's good enough, all right? 50 feet manual landing elevation, that's going to be okay. I'm going to clear that message. Now, cabin pressurization landing elevation fault, clear. I've taken care of that. Now we come back to the status page, where now it's telling me a different story. Now it says the autopilot 1 and 2 is 1 and 2, so sorry. 1 and 2 is inoperative, auto thrust is inoperative, Cat 2 is inoperative, and the GPWS terrain is inoperative. All right. So that's what I've lost, okay? Now along with that, I have lost the ability. I'm going to remove the status page, all right? I don't want that to keep reminding me about what I've lost. I know, thank you. All right, with that, we've also lost the MCDUs. Now generally what I would do is I'd like to come in for an ILS into Dubai, all right? Wherever you can pick an ILS, right? But look at this, my MCDU, she don't want to work. It's done, it's frozen, it's gone. All right, I can probably go into my ATC com and get my ACARS probably, but that's about it. I can't program the nav radio. It's kaput as we say. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna request a hold. So I'm just gonna circle to 210 degrees. So let me set the track of 210, which I have done right now, maintaining 5,000. Just gonna bank the airplane a little bit and keep it there. Okay, gonna keep it right there. And we're gonna go to a track of 210. So I've got 210 in here, nothing over here, but I could probably go into a rose mode or ILS mode or something like that. So what am I going to do now? I need to do an ILS approach because the visibility is not really good. I need something to guide me in. I could get the air traffic control to give me vectors and stuff, but I'd like to have a little bit of precision on my side as well, you know. So what I can do is, remember, when you lose these, all right, the tuning of the nav radios, it's still not game over because we have physical radios over here, all right. Now the radio stack, the way it works is you've got your VHF frequencies here, 3 channels for your VHF, all right. So right now I'm using VHF 1 and that's the frequency I'm talking to. If I want to talk on another frequency, I can always go to VHF 2, tune a different frequency, transfer it over, and the same for VHF 3. And we also have HF and AM, all right. So now that's basically how and VHF 3 is usually slated to our data for ACARS. So that's how you use the radio over there. Now down over here I've got, let me just check in my my trajectory. Speed is okay, altitude's okay, very good. All right, now when you come over to this part here, this is where you're going to select what channel you want to be listening to and talking to. So these buttons over here, this is what lets you choose. Like if I want to transmit to VHF 1, I choose this. If I want to transmit to VHF 2, I transmit this. So now when I push the PTT button over here on I don't know if you can see it. Quiet, I'm trying to talk to the subscribers, please. All right, right over there, there's a little push button there. That's the push to talk button. All right, and basically now that I've chosen VHF 2, whenever I transmit, you can also do this. Hold down on the PTT here. Now I'm transmitting to VHF 2. If I choose this, I'm transmitting to VHF 1. This is the audio. Now you can listen to multiple, as many as you want. So I want to listen to VHF 1, and basically and this is the volume now. That will select how much volume I want from this channel. All right. Now I could be talking on VHF 1, and I could also be listening to 2 channels simultaneously, like this one, maybe VHF 2, I'll tune in the ATIS, and while I've got VHF 1 running, I'm going to be using VHF 2 to listen to the ATIS information as well, and when I'm done, I can mute it by pushing that button there. So that's how that works, all right? Now, my problem here is not really talking to anybody. My problem here is finding out where I am and where I need to go. So we also have a nav strip over here, all right? So that's gonna help me out in trying to program in my ILS. I'm just trying to get my aircraft stabilized at 5,000 feet. Stand by, guys. All right, there we go. We've got the bird on the horizon. We're gonna maintain that for now. And I wanted 210. I turned a little bit too much, so I'm just gonna raise the nose again, keep the aircraft stable. And as you can see, I'm just working the side stick, just literally not even touch. Well, once you set the power, just leave it there. It's good to go. You know, just big changes you'll probably need to touch it again, but other than that, if you've set the energy right, leave it there. All right, so 210, I'm gonna keep there's my little knob there for 210, the little hat, so I'm gonna be using that to reference 210 also over here. Okay, now let's get ourselves a map. Let's see where we're going. So we want to go over to Dubai, Oscar Mike Delta Bravo. We put that there. I'll go to my approaches, and I'm going to be doing an ILS for runway 12 right. Okay, that's what I want to do. So yeah, yes, I know, I'm 200 above, I know. I'll adjust it, don't you worry, relax. All right, cool. So now 12 right, the frequency for runway 12 right is 109.5. I hope you guys can see it clearly. All right, 109.5, and that's the frequency I want to tune in. All right, so I cannot do it here. However, on this strip here, if I push the nav button, okay, now I get to tune the ILS. I push the nav, which means now I'm turning on the nav part of the radio, and I want to adjust my trajectory a little bit here. Now I want to push the ILS, and as you can see here, the frequencies are there because I programmed them in before. Okay, now let's just say for education's sake, they're not programmed in. Okay. Oh, by the way, we got 210 degrees coming in, so let me just stabilize the aircraft over there at 210. All right, here's 210. Level in the wings, maintaining altitude, and level right over there. Perfect. Okay, I am at 210, and I'm at 5,000 feet. All good. All right. Good job. Good job. All right, guys. Now let's tune in that ILS frequency. All right. Let's keep it stable over here and tune the ILS frequency. So the ILS frequency is. So I want to tune it here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the frequency in. I want to tune 109 using, so on this section I'll tune with the big knob, this section after the decimal point with the smaller knob on top. 109, and it's decimal 50. Okay, that's the frequency. Transfer it. So I've got my frequency in. Now the next thing it wants is my course. The final approach course is 119 degrees. So now we come over here and we make it 119. All right, beautiful. Now if I bring up my landing screen, there we go. There's my ILS right over there. I can go into the ILS rose mode, and there's my ILS right over there as well. So that's looking absolutely brilliant. All right. So now what we can do is we basically have the frequency in. We've got the frequency, we've got the course. You can do the same thing for a VOR. If I wanted to tune a VOR, I'll push the VOR button, and I'll put the VOR course, and then I'll transfer it, and then I'll put the VOR frequency and transfer it, and basically that's how you program the VOR. But today we want to do an ILS, and this is probably going to require me to do a raw data ILS. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to try and head back towards the airport. So let's just say Dubai told me that the airport is at a heading of 030 to the left, and they wanted me to descend and maintain 2000. All right, now to maintain control of the aircraft, I'm going to reduce my speed to 220. I'm going to make a left-hand turn. I'm just going to bank the aircraft right away so it starts going to 030, and I'm gonna descend and maintain 2000. All right, now I can't do anything else here. I can only use these as a reference. So I've set 2000, I've set 030, and I've set 220. So I'm just gonna bring the nose down right onto the horizon. That'll give me a nice gentle descent, and since I'm descending, I'm gonna bring the thrust levers to idle and let the aircraft do its thing. All right, fly-by-wire is still working in my favor, so I'm still doing good. Now there's the coastline. I can see what looks like the Palm Jebel Ali, which is nice. And there you go, I've got my frequency in there. There you go, I am 23 miles away from my ILS. All right, it's telling me now that I'm in range of the ILS and I'm 23 miles away. All right, so that's looking good so far. So I'm just gonna stay here, and I'm just gonna let the aircraft do its descent. I'm gonna bank a little bit more just to get to my 030. In fact, I think I can go to a 050 setting. So let's make it 050. Okay, that's gonna give me a nice trajectory towards the ILS. You can see I've even got the center point of the ILS. The localizer needle is in there as well. So once this comes alive, I'll set the runway track and I'll do a raw data interception. Pray for me. All right. Now here's where things get manual, and here's where you need a co-pilot. All right, I'm gonna level it out here at 050, placing the tail of the bird on the track, and we're gonna continue our descent. So we've worked out the direction we want to fly. Now we're working out our descent. All right. So now, to keep things simple, I'm not going to go into super advanced performance calculations. What's going to be our landing speed, blah blah blah, yada yada yada, all that kind of stuff. No, I don't need that. Okay, we're going to use auto brake slow for this landing, just to help us out a little bit. I can even put ILS over here. And what we're going to do is we are going to use the speed tape, the information on our speed tape, to give us all the information we're going to need for this. I know I'm heading for 050. I know I'm descending down to 2000. Okay, that buzzer is going to tell me that I'm less than 1,000 feet away from my target altitude. and everything is all hunky-dory so far, making small corrections just to stay on my track. All right, my track of 050. I am now 17 miles away from the ILS. Now here comes 2,000 feet. As we get close, we're going to bring the nose up gently about 2.5 degrees to reduce the rate of descent. Here's the ILS. The localizer is alive already. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a raw data ILS intercept. I'm going to set 119 degrees. And what I want to do is I want to bank the aircraft over and get that needle in. I've flown out a little bit beyond it, but that's okay. As we do with all raw data, I'm just going to add some power now, maintain our thrust, manual thrust, just to maintain speed, and I'm going to level off. You see, the needle is to the right, the localizer is to the right, so I'm going to stay to the right of my track, of the runway track, until this comes back in. All right, that's the plan. All right, I'm leveling off here. I'm gonna do my best to stay at 2,000 feet. And once the localizer, see that the needle is now alive, it's coming back in, which means I'm now off the track. I'm pulling this needle back in. I'm gonna go flaps 1, and I'm gonna reduce my speed to about 160. All right, there we go. And I'll bring the thrust levers back. There you go, localizer is alive. I'm now gonna gently bank the aircraft, try and move along at the same speed as the localizer, removing the status page, and just basically line all these guys up. That's all I have to do for now. All right, my speed's good for flaps 2, so I'm gonna go flaps 2. All right, flaps 2 selected, the flaps are moving. There we go. Now, as you can see, the localizer is still very slightly to the right of the center point, so I'm gonna keep the bird very slightly to the right of the track. That's gonna help me stay, and I level off here. Okay, level the wings here, don't keep going, level off just slightly. It pulled the localizer back in. Now as soon as the localizer is back in the center, put the bird on the track as well. This is gonna help me guarantee that the localizer stays there, the aircraft stays on the localizer. That's the whole purpose of the bird and the track and the localizer. You see that I've got a nice trifecta there. I've got the localizer in the middle, I've got the tail on the track, and I've got the hat right over there on the track as well. So everything's looking really good. I'm gonna give myself a little bit more power just to maintain speed. I did fall back on my speed a bit. Just increase the thrust gently. See the speed trend coming up. Very nice. So now, as far as my instrument, I can't see anything out there, all right? But as far as my instruments tell, sorry about that, guys. My GoPro suddenly decided to overheat and shut down. All right. So as I was saying, I'm just increasing my speed, reducing my speed now just to stay stable. It tells me that I'm 1 bar above the glide slope, so I can go landing gear down. Speed is good, flaps 3, arm the spoilers, get the lights on, tell the crew to be seated. All right, so now I'm going to be on the glide slope, so I'm going to descend now. I've got my localizer fixed. All I need to do is fix the glide slope. All right, establish myself on the glide slope, which it tells me is about 700 to 800 feet a minute. Now I'm leaving that altitude and I'm heading towards the runway. My localizer is good, my glide slope is good, so everything should look okay in terms. Very soon we should be able to see a runway in front of us. All right, now I'm gonna set. Now you see I've got this bobber pole over here, so what I'm gonna do for safety, I'm gonna make my speed just slightly above that. I'm gonna set my speed to about 145, all right, which is just above this point over here, the low speed range. Okay, so that's gonna keep me safe, and I just have to adjust the thrust levers and the power to keep the aircraft there. I can now go for flaps full, and I can complete the landing checklist, which is landing no blue on the ECAM memo. And now it's just basically making small corrections on the power, small corrections on the side stick. We're losing our localizer just a bit, so we're gonna make a tiny adjustment there just to correct it and bring that localizer back in. All right, I've got some ground contact, I can see some buildings, but I can't see the runway yet. So just small tiny corrections on the side stick just to keep us where we need to be.
1,000.
There's 1,000. That's checked. Power is good. Speed is stable. Altitude is stable. We're on the localizer. We're on the glide slope. I'm going to increase power just a little bit as the aircraft is starting to lose energy a bit. There we go. Nice and stable. Just going back and forth on the thrust levers just to hold it steady. I'm falling a little bit down on the glide slope, so I'm going to go ahead, raise the nose just a little bit, reduce our rate of descent. Okay, here we go. Now I can see the airport, but I still don't see the runway yet. I should be able to see the runway pretty soon. Just gonna continue following, and yes, I see the runway right over there. There's a slight crosswind right now. The winds are shifting in Dubai Airport around this time of the day, so I'm just gonna work the aeroplane. So now I have the runway in sight. I'm gonna go visual and just land the aircraft as I would. There we go, making small corrections just to keep her steady. And that's a beautiful sight, looking at that runway coming into view. Speed is good. We're just gonna flare just a little bit, holding 5 degrees on the nose. Retard, I'm gonna kill the power, and we're on the runway. A little bit of right rudder just to point us back towards the center. And I'm gonna go ahead and engage reverses. I've got spoilers, reverses are green, and decel. The aircraft is slowing down. We're on the runway, continue to use my rudders just to keep us in the center, fighting off that crosswind. And at about 70 knots, which is now, bring the reverses out of reverse, thrust levers out of reverse, and we can now bring the aircraft to a stop. I'm basically just going to use the tiller now, slow it down a bit, and with the aid of the rudders and the tiller, I can take this exit, and I'll just hold short of the taxiway. And that, my friends, is how we get back onto terra firma safely when you have an emergency. All right, let me just bring the aircraft to a hold over here. There we go. Gonna set the parking brakes. All right, excellent. After landing checklist, I'm gonna put the weather radar off, TCAS off, and disarm the spoilers. Go flaps up, landing lights can go off, taxi, and I'll start the APU. All right, APU, start please. Thank you. All right, guys. So that is how you handle a dual FMGC failure. All right, as long as one is still working, everything's going to be pretty much normal. All right, you can still program everything in. You'll still have an autopilot that you can use. You'll still have the auto thrust. But in a worst case scenario, when everything fails, remember, aviate, navigate, communicate. Keep the aircraft. I've got a fire engine coming up towards me. Oh, well. It's not that critical, guys. Anyways, whatever happens, the autopilot cuts out on you, first thing you do, put your hand on the controls, look at your instruments, keep the aircraft stable, maintain altitude, maintain speed. The auto thrust goes off on you, just immediately it'll be in climb, right, in the climb detent. Bring it out of climb detent and just give it a push to make sure you're in manual. You will be in manual, but just as a habit I push it, and then just adjust the thrust levers to maintain the speed you want. All right, just as you would in any aircraft. Then start talking to air traffic control, figure out where you are, figure out a game plan on where you need to go, and then use the navigation radio, the manual navigation radio, to tune in the frequencies, and then use your instruments. In this case, we didn't have the ARC, we didn't have this. All right, we didn't have the ARC, we didn't have nav, but we did have the VOR, so we could have tracked the VOR, and we did have the ILS, so we could intercept an ILS. And I still had the localizer and glide slope information right there in front of me, along with my DME, my distance measuring equipment. So that was what I used to get me back here, and now I'm back in Dubai Airport. I can go to a corner and cry, or I could probably go home and have lunch. So guys, that's how you handle a dual FMGC failure. All right, thank you so much for watching. For those of you who are not subscribed, consider subscribing. If you like the video, the thumbs up button works very well. I checked it just this morning. And you can even click the notification bell. Don't kick it, click it, and so you'll be notified when I upload the next video. we're trying to do we're trying to do a video every Saturday and every Wednesday is the new schedule I'm trying to keep up with. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this adventure. Guys, I'll see you in the next video. And we're also continuing on our around the world, flying an Airbus around the world tour as, from Cairo. We finished the Middle East, all the countries in the Middle East. Can you imagine that? We did every country in the Middle East. We're going to Nepal next. So guys, stay tuned for that. That's coming up. And in the meantime, thank you again for watching. Thank you for liking and subscribing. God bless every single one of you. Have a lovely day. Bye bye.